podcast, we've got Kirsten Leo Situma with us here. She is the founder of Leo SZN, which is a creative consulting firm dedicated to elevating luxurious South African fashion brands on a global scale.
I worked for Vivier Studio, and when that came to an end, I took a very big step back and I was like, what kind of idea am I in the world? Leo SZN was born because I want to help people, but I also need to keep my mouth open and a roof over my head. So it kind of made sense that way. It was a very beautiful thing. I mean, it's definitely, whenever you're working for somebody else, you always have your own opinion of how I would do this or how I would do that.
Right.
Now it's completely on your shoulders.
Right.
And I have to think clearly because I do have a personality that can stick out every now and then. I've been called aggressive before, which I'm not sad about, because we go for what we want and we go for what we need. But now I'm also kind of thinking that this is legacy work. This is not something that I can't stick out because somebody from Fashion Week told me something that I didn't like.
Yeah.
So Africa reimagines like the big daddy of this is what I think that Leo SZN could become one day.
Right.
I'm actually not sure where she's based. I believe that she's obviously based in Africa somewhere.
Yeah.
But basically what she did was she took 52 different designers to a showroom in Shanghai and then did the show for them. And then we all worked together for the press and media stuff afterwards.
Okay.
For me, the biggest mistake that anybody can make, maybe not just the designers, is thinking that we can do everything ourselves.
Ladies and gents, on this episode of the EXC-i8 podcast, we've got Kirsten Leo Situma with us here. She is the founder of Leo SZN, which is a creative consulting firm dedicated to elevating luxurious South African fashion brands on a global scale. So, Kirsten, thank you for being here with us today. Yeah.
Thank you.
And, we look forward to our chat and conversation where we take our listeners and our viewers on a journey and help them ignite their light to keep it burning bright with us here on EXC-i8. So, Kirsten, if we had met for 15 years ago, right, would we have been able to guess that right now, with Leo SZN and the industry that you're in, that this is where you would end up?
I was always made for greatness.
Hey!
No, just kidding.
Yes.
I think 15 years ago you would have met a much fiery version of me, a much more fiery version of me, younger. But I think that we would have all agreed walking away from that 15 years from now, she probably will be something really cool.
Okay, cool.
Because I made sure, I worked hard for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, with saying that, there weren't necessarily any early telltale signs that it would be, in the creative industry or in fashion, or because of your personality, would people be, okay, I can see that.
No, I think the funny thing is that I actually studied law.
Okay.
My goal or my aim when I was 18, I wanted to go into Parliament or the Concourt.
What?
And I studied law. I loved it. Of course I did.
Yeah.
But as is with everybody else's story, kind of like the missing middle where your parents ran out of money and you've got to find a job.
Yes.
But I always aimed that I wanted to be in the legal field.
Okay.
Now that I look back at it, there was not a chance that I wouldn't make it because I started working for a creative firm or a creative agency and I completely fell in love with it.
Okay.
So I knew that at that moment it would be still in the legal or professional space, but in the creative industry.
Okay.
And then using those transferable skills to make it work.
Correct me if I'm wrong. So you mentioned something in the creative industry when you started working. Was that in casting?
It was actually in model management.
Model management,
Yeah,
okay.
talent management. I started working, my very first job was for X Factor.
Oh,
So
okay.
shortly after I ran out of, I didn't run out of money. My parents couldn't pay for our school fees any longer.
Yeah.
My mom was like, okay, get a job. And I was like, cool, I'm going to continue with my degree. And I just happened to get a job at X Factor.
Okay.
Started as admin, studying and working at the same time. But I fell in love with being able to help people achieve their dreams.
Yeah.
That's really where it started.
Okay.
Because when you're in a modeling agency, people come to you and they're like, I have a dream and I want to be able to fulfill this dream.
Yeah.
So it was always there to help people. It was always there. That always existed.
Yeah.
It just kind of evolved as we went.
Yeah. So you've sort of now found this holistic approach in what you do, where you've taken, elements of law and the world of business and fashion and beauty, and you've put it all into, one structured environment with Leo season. Yeah. What was the planning or the thought process behind all of that?
What really happened, always knew that I wanted to have my own business.
Right.
But I worked for Vivia's studio. And when that came to an end, I took a very big step back and I was like, what kind of idea am I in the world?
Yeah.
Salman Rushdie is an incredible author. He's got a fatwa in his life right now, which is actually quite scary. But I read this book called The Satanic Verses. It's not about Satan. It's a fictional book about these two people who survive an explosion in the air.
Okay.
And on their way down, they change forms into the really horrible guy turns into this beautiful godlike creature.
Yeah.
And then the very good guy turns into this demon, scary-looking thing. And they've got to find their way back. And one of the lines in that book was, what kind of idea are you in the world? And that was what stuck with me. Okay. Who am I? Am I the one that wants to continue perpetuating this situation that's happening in our industry, or do I want to help people? Okay. Do I want to use what I have to serve others?
Okay.
So I do think that God gave me that idea.
Right.
That's where it started.
Right.
And Leo Season was born because I want to help people. Okay, but I also need to keep my mouth open and a roof over my head. Yeah. So it kind of made sense that way. It was a very beautiful thing. And so taking that holistic approach means having a human element, understanding we do, but I love working with established designers and helping them get to achieve their goals. But our core focus and our core business is emerging designers.
Okay.
I want to help there with whatever skills that I have that they might need.
Yeah.
I think any business owner can agree, we do everything.
Yeah,
absolutely everything.
Sure.
And I think specifically with designers, they're creating from their hearts.
Yes.
It's anybody that's creating something, it's from their heart. Yes. And it means a lot to them.
Yes.
But a lot of the time, they don't have the business acumen or the access or whatever the case is. And that's where Leo Season comes in.
Right.
And we provide that kind of guideline to your success.
Good. Yeah. So you're actually ticking off a couple of questions that I had been thinking of while you were talking. One of those would have been, what would be the defining moment? In everybody's career, there's either a mentor or some sort of defining moment that sets motion to everything that they going to do from that point onwards. And you mentioned the line from the book The Satanic Verses.
Yeah.
So that was that moment for you. Was there something else, and that was maybe just another catalyst?
I think I'd like to say yes.
Right.
But I'm also, if I'm very honest with myself, I think that it was every phase and stage that I worked in my career. So I think that every boss that I had, whether I loved them or I hated them, can't have a hate, but you know what I mean. I think each one of them shaped me. When I worked for X Factor, Shane Foster, who was the owner, or is the owner, I learned a lot underneath him.
Yeah.
Both about myself as a young woman in the world and also in the industry, and how to negotiate contracts and invoice and do all of that kind of stuff. And then I moved on from X Factor to My Friend Ned under Candace, and that was a very interesting experience. It was wonderful. I learned even more about being autonomous and working in an industry where we're giving access to people who might not necessarily have it. My Friend Ed was the model agency of the time that would represent non-binary people and transgender people or people with vitiligo, I'm not sure how to pronounce it.
Yeah.
It was something that was different, and we were kind of opening up the industry, and that was it aligned a lot with my values. So that was where I learned how my values would work.
Okay.
And then I worked for Rage Creative.
Okay.
And I was a managing director at the time of leaving, and that shaped me in how business is run.
Right.
And I also, you take the good, bad, and the ugly. I think I was a bully. I mean, we got stuff done.
Yes.
We really did. And by the time I left, the company was doing quite well. So I think that, I learned there how to be softer and how to be kinder and how to be better. And then Vivia's kind of showed me the belly of the beast of the fashion industry.
Right.
And then I took all of those things, and those were I don't know if I can call them a mentor, but those were the catalysts for me.
Sure.
Each space was a phase or a lesson that I needed to learn in order for Leo Season to happen.
And now you've got this cohesive blend of everything that you learned along the way, and that's does that govern your style of how you conduct business and how you run your team?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, whenever you're working for somebody else, you always have your own opinion of how I would do this or how I would do that.
Right.
Now it's completely on your shoulders.
Right.
And I have to think clearly, because I do have a personality that can steek out every now and then. I've been called aggressive before, which I'm not sad about, because we go for what we want and we go for what we need. But now I'm also kind of thinking that this is legacy work. This is not something that I can't steek out because somebody from Fashion Week told me something that I didn't like. Yeah. I have to like figure it out. So those are like, to answer your question, I'm a better person because of those things.
Right.
And I'm hoping that I make better decisions that way.
Okay, cool.
I try my best.
Yes.
Yeah, nobody's perfect though.
So you mentioned that part of the work you do, right, is helping designers who sort of struggle on the business side. They don't have the business acumen. So what was it actually that you saw in the fashion industry where you felt, okay, there is a gap here? What was missing that made you feel like, okay, Leo SZN is going to be, the thing that plugs that gap?
Yeah, I think that for me, it was recognizing like designers do everything on their own and having that pathway or a guideline or a framework for getting your goals achieved in a business perspective. Like the business acumen was missing.
Right.
I'm not saying everybody misses it. I think that everybody is maybe just a little bit too overwhelmed to deal with each part.
Right.
And I knew that having strong business acumen and these transferable skills for creatives would be incredibly important, because then you can go and focus on creating a beautiful collection with your aspirations and your ideas and your creativity, knowing that your business is still taken care of, right, and that we're setting like a foundation and a framework to work within. And obviously everyone is different. Every designer is different. One designer might not need the same as the next. So it is a very tailored approach. Yeah. But the idea really is to have like a very nice guideline or framework, strategy, right, to get it right.
Right. So is working with designers, is that the core and the focus of Leo SZN, or, is there the opportunity for anybody in another industry or another profession to work with you guys?
I have had these conversations before. We do have a couple of clients that we do like ad hoc work or events production, that kind of stuff. If I'm very honest, like it's lovely to do that kind of work because it keeps the bills paid.
Right.
Yeah. I've got to like make sure that stuff's paid in order to be able to continue with the philanthropic work that I want to do. So no, I don't only focus on designers, fashion designers. Those are the core elements. That's where I'm focusing most of our resources. But anybody in the creative industry that needs guidance, I'm more than happy to like consult with them or give them ideas or give them information. It's a very open knowledge kind of network that I try to have.
Right. What do you think is the key to running a successful creative consultancy firm?
You'll have to pay me for that.
That is the key. Get that bag.
No, genuine. Like when people ask me that question, I'm like, cool. I can't like reveal the deck.
All the secrets. Yeah.
I think I don't know how to answer that question as well.
Yeah,
really.
I get it because you would literally be revealing the secrets to your business.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just making sure that the key or the secret to getting it right is to be as knowledgeable as possible.
Right.
Like I consume so much information. I read every single report that's coming out. I'm like keeping my eye on what's going on in Parliament or in the bills, understanding what the trade agreements mean for designers. Like just being knowledgeable is like the perfect starting point, because then you will find the little nuggets that you need to be like, oh, okay. Like the brand tracker, for example, that I've just launched. It's helping designers understand their market position, but like really, really focus through quantitative and qualitative research that we do and focus groups and all of that kind of stuff. And I picked up this idea because my husband owns an insights agency. So I've kind of like learned from there, and then all of the research that we do in our industry and like making that all one.
Okay.
So that's the secret, like just having transferable skills and being knowledgeable.
Yes.
Without giving away too much.
Well, I think that was very, very useful. So thank you for that. And then, starting any business is tough, right? Yeah. And I'm sure maybe along the way, or when you launch Leo SZN or building up to there might have been certain struggles or challenges that you incurred or and had encounters with. Any that you care to share?
Yeah, I think the way that I approach stuff is very open knowledge, like open network, share whatever it is that you have. And I think that the biggest problem that I ran into is that I was expecting the same from everybody else in the industry as well. And that led to a lot of frustration. Right. And being blocked when I'm trying to do a good thing can be very, very frustrating.
Yes.
And also if you allow your ego to take over, then you're in a bad space. And I'm not saying that everybody is perfect, but we all, we go through these moments. And I think that what worked very well in terms of overcoming that challenge, which we're doing again this year, it was Leo Season's annual event.
Okay.
I had a beautiful 8-course dinner for key industry players, designers, stylists, factory owners, retail buyers, and I brought them all together, and then we took them to SA Fashion Week.
Okay.
And we rocked up squad deep, and everybody was obviously having a great time. Yeah. It was very nice. But I think for the organization that we were going to, it felt very disruptive for them.
Is it? Okay.
And then Leo Season gained this very disruptive personality, which I'm not mad about.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
I mentioned, EXC-i8 I thought that was cool. But obviously, out of respect for the industry, having spoken to the organizers and having respect for the industry, learning how to calm that down or stop it a little bit, bury it a little bit. Right. And I realized that would be a challenge in itself. I don't want to shrink or make myself smaller or do anything of the sort, because what I'm doing is, I believe, a good thing. Sure. So I'm not going to hide it. And so I think the way that I overcame that challenge of being disruptive or being blocked or blackballed in the industry was rather to be like, F it, I'm going to do this whether you like it or not, because we're doing a good thing. Yeah. And we're doing it out of respect. And if you don't like it, do better then.
Well, and they say no publicity is bad publicity, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So it was, obviously you don't want to rub people up the wrong way.
Right.
But I've also realized that if somebody's rubbed up the wrong way because what I'm doing, you're not doing something yourself.
Yes. Sorry, I think I need to correct myself. I said no publicity is bad publicity.
Yes, that's right.
But at the same time, there's no such thing as bad publicity.
No. Yes. You just have to make sure you work hard enough so that it doesn't stick too long to you.
For sure. Oh, very interesting. So I want to just dive a little bit deeper into what was it about the crowd that you rocked up with at SA Fashion Week that made them feel it was disruptive? Was it just a rowdiness or too boisterous, or what was it?
No, I don't think that we were boisterous. I think that we were pretty good.
Right.
I also have a habit of not asking for things. I have a habit of saying things that I want.
Yeah.
I'll take it now and I'll ask for apologies later. Yeah. Obviously not bad stuff, but just, I'm not going to ask you twice if I can bring these people. I'm going to bring them. I bought the tickets. I paid, I'm not asking for discounts or favors from anybody. I'm actually paying my own cash to do it. So we're going to do it.
Yes.
I think that what was disruptive was maybe the relationships that I'd had with them before when I was working under other people.
Okay.
That expected me to be a lot smaller, a lot calmer, asking for permission more. Is it okay if I do this? Please, will you give me the acknowledgement? Please, will you give me the permission to do this? Yeah. Whereas I just decided it's my business. This is good for my business. And we did. It soared after that event. Okay, it got press and media and whatever the case was in it. Great images. And I think instead of the way that the industry is that the gatekeepers expect you to play according to their rules. Yeah. And I am playing the game, just not according to their rules. Sure. We're creating a new set of rules now. And I don't think that they like that.
Yes.
Which is fine. I think a little bit of positive criticism and constructive criticism is good for all of us. Yeah. I've taken a lot of it. But yeah, I don't think it was because we were rowdy. If we were rowdy, it was in my living room afterwards. Not necessarily there.
Right.
But I felt like I just wanted to be myself. And I've shrunk so much under other people. And this is mine now. I'm not going to shrink.
Yeah.
So it was I think that's what they didn't like.
I kind of dig that and respect that, just my own personal opinion. But I think, if you want to make your mark and an impact and break into an industry that has been blackballing you and gatekeepers don't want to let you in, you got to disrupt the natural order of things somehow, right?
I'm literally going to create my own table, even if I got to bleed for it.
Yeah. Excellent. So with some of the tough or the challenges that you experience, in launching a Leo season, like you manage or you mentioned the gatekeepers and the frustration, with knocking on doors and maybe those doors not opening. What is your process through it all. You said also, if you've got an ego, it doesn't help the things, but like, is there something that you're doing? Is there some form of a ritual? Is there reading? What application are you doing, to help you cope through those?
All glory be to God,
right?
Honestly.
Right.
I think that God gave me the idea for Leo season, and every single challenge that comes now, I'm viewing it as an opportunity for me to learn.
Right.
Because, sometimes I've been through a lot, like in my career, because you're so passionate and you love it so much, so you're very, very close to it. And things have happened that have just made me feel like, oh my God, this is terrible. I never want to do this again. I'm just going to give up. And every single time I've been reminded that it's God that's doing this for me. And it's a lesson. It's easier for me to focus on those challenges and get over them when I know that this is a lesson and not like a step back.
Right.
And sometimes those steps back happen for a reason. You've got to just be like, okay, cool,
Yeah.
So I think first and foremost would definitely be God, and I'm very grateful for that. What was the question again?
Basically,
I got caught up in loving him.
Yeah, I think you just, as you're talking about God, that says a lot about, what is it that you practice. And I guess you speaking about God shows that it's not necessarily something you practice, but it's what you believe in that's carrying you through.
Yeah.
Right.
And also just like persist. Don't give up. Even on the days, Spoo taught me something very important. Sometimes, like when you're a business owner, it can get really depressing. It can get very lonely and isolating, and you're not sure, you're running with blinkers on. So whatever the case is, sometimes you don't feel like doing anything on that day.
100%.
And there's nobody standing on top of you to say, sorry, I need this. It's all up to you. And I think that the biggest lesson I learned on those very, very challenging days was just do one thing.
Yeah.
Just do one.
Yeah.
If you've got 10 things on your list and they're all urgent, just do one thing.
Yeah.
It will help. And then the next day, and then the next day. So those are the moments I'm like, God, please, I want to stab this person. But I will calm down and I will just do this one thing so that I can be peaceful.
I might have one little...
I've never stabbed anyone. By the way.
You say you still can't.
There's too many... I'm going to change. There's too many references. Sorry.
She doesn't still eat like that. So and I've got one little disagreement with something that you said, right? Just again, my personal experience. You say that as a business owner, there's nobody standing over you, so you got to do that. You got to go.
Yeah.
Maybe true in your sense, but I think for husbands, that's generally not the case. There's always going to be somebody.
There's always
a wife there. Hey.
Yeah, no, I think for him, he's lucky because he's got me.
Yeah,
and I'll always be the one like, hello. No, but I think with him, it's just, I really love Spoo. I'm very grateful that he's my husband.
Yeah.
Because I think that there's nobody that knows how to deal with my EXC-i8 like he does, first and foremost. But also, I think that having somebody on your side.
Yeah.
Even when you're failing, that's how it's a weird thing that sometimes, and I'm not wishing it upon anybody, especially not myself, but it's so weird how when things are not great, we somehow are stronger in comparison to when things are great. And I'm not saying that things are not great. I just feel like you can fight a little bit more when there's more money in the bank account and there's more freedom to do stuff.
Yes.
Whereas when you've only got one another, you're not going to ruin this. You're not going to fight this. You're not going to break it or whatever the case is.
Right.
It's a very shallow example, but I think that those are the things. Every husband needs a wife like that.
I think so many people can relate.
Or every partner needs a partner like that. Yeah.
Yes. It goes both ways. It's very relatable. And like you said, having the money in the account makes the fighting, other things a lot better.
I'd rather fight about those other things.
Yeah,
I didn't like the way you closed the door this morning.
Yeah, let's have those stupid fights because we know we're okay. We're gonna be good.
Okay. Just to remind you.
Yeah. So I just want to pick things back a little bit, but going way back.
Oh.
Right? To just help gain more insight as to the Kirsten that we have today. Because you said that, initially you wanted to get into law. And, before that, it makes me wonder, okay, what type of a person were you at school? Were you, academically driven or you were stilking it?
No, I think that my high school teachers hated me.
Okay.
I know that for sure my English teacher did not like me at all. And I think that the reason why they didn't like me that much was because I was naughty, but I was also getting straight A's. I was getting good marks. I was passing. Okay, maybe save of maths.
Okay.
We got there. But I think that all of the teachers were frustrated with me because I was steking 8. But like, you couldn't pin me to anything because it's not like I'm failing. It's not like I'm doing bad. I'm just not challenged enough, maybe. I went to JP, High School for Girls, and they used to have this ticket system. Like, if you were late, I am chronically late. Sorry, as you can tell.
Well,
this is like, I don't think it's ever going to leave me. And it's not out of disrespect for people's time. I just think that like the rain comes and then life changes. Anyway,
people that are late generally have excuses.
Yeah, we try. I mean, I really don't disrespect people's time, for sure. It's just, it's a weird thing that happens, and it happened even when I was in high school. Even if I took the early bus, because I used to take a bus to school, I would still somehow get to school late. So the ticket system, if you couldn't go straight to class, you had to go to the head office first, and then they would write your name and issue you a ticket. And then if you had 3 tickets in a week, you would have to sit detention on a Friday. Cool, no problem. I quickly figured that system out very quickly, and I used to keep the tickets in my pocket and not say anything. And so when, I can't remember actually how I did it. I need to think of it again, because maybe that's a great way to commit crime. But I'm just kidding. I essentially jippoed the system. And I didn't sit detention for a long time. I think it was almost like half the year that I was late, but then I wasn't sitting detention because I'd like figured out the key. And when I got caught, I got suspended for 2 weeks, obviously, because that's not cool. You can't do that. But because the teachers knew who I was, my suspension wasn't at home. I had to come to school every single day and sit outside the principal's office on this big, hard wooden bench every single day, and all the girls would walk past you and they'll know, ooh, you're in trouble. And I used to make myself very comfortable. They're like, can you bring me your homework? So I think it was just maybe that disruptive, don't want to prescribe to authority that is still the same as it was back then.
I see an opportunity for another service offering for Leo SZN. You can just put a point there, strategic criminology.
I mean, I think it would be a great idea. We'll make so much money, but the problem is that the minute a policeman, like, I'd be the worst person to do crime with, because we can commit a crime today, no problem. The minute I see a policeman, I'd be like, and then Terrence said I must do this, and he came up with that idea.
Out.
I will snitch immediately. I'm not going to jail, sorry. I don't want to commit crime, but if I did, I'm snitching.
We won't even need to guess, like, who was it.
No, the guilt would eat me up. Like, I'd lay in bed at night and be like, first thing tomorrow morning, I'm going to the police station to hand myself in.
Kirsten, Leo SZN, to me it feels like such a strong name, right? And I was wondering if there's maybe any sort of a double entendre behind that, with astronomy, or is it just purely based on your surname?
A little bit of both, and also with my new surname.
Right.
Because it's Leo Situma.
Right.
Leo SZN, so the LS was nice for me to keep. And then also definitely astrology, our surname is Leo, so everything felt like it would work. Everything felt like, okay, this is the right thing. It just kind of appears before me, and I'm like, okay, yes, that's it.
Are you a Leo?
No, I'm a Scorpio.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. My dad is a Leo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then working with designers, right? Are there any common mistakes or challenges that you see is, they all might have in common, or what are the biggest challenges that most of them face with? Is it purely just the lack of the business acumen, or?
No, I think, even the ones that have very strong business acumen, I think it's more having the support in your business that we also desperately need.
Right.
We all have these goals and these ideas, like, I want to do stuff, but I'm like, I can't figure out how to get it right. And if only there were a consulting firm that could assist me to get that right. And I think also now with AI coming up as much as it is, all of these AI consulting firms also picking, like, they don't do what Leo SZN does, because we have that human element to it.
Yeah.
But I think that I want to be able to answer the questions for a designer that AI is not going to answer for them the right kind of way, or like with the human way. The common mistakes that designers make, I think, in that regard, is thinking that they can do everything themselves. Right. Even myself, like I think I can do everything myself, but I can't. I need the support. I need the community. I think that the goal, more than the focus on the designers, the industry for me, that creating that open knowledge network and creating this new, I want to break the wheel and create a new one that allows for more synergy. I hate that word, but I'm going to say it anyway. In the industry, allows more community in the industry, a more human element that helps us achieve stuff. So I think that for me, the biggest mistake that anybody can make, maybe not just the designers, is thinking that we can do everything ourselves. And then being like, yeah, you can do everything yourself, but here's a whole array of things that you can have support on.
But why do you think that is? Do we, or designers or whoever, and I say we because I also felt for a lot of time I got to do everything on myself. Why do you think that is? Where does that come from? Is it purely money? Yeah.
I definitely think, like, if you're running a small business, as is, I'm also running a small business, having resources or having the lack of resources would be the reason why I would do things my own. I don't know, I don't want to give a silly example. I want to give a real life example, but stuff like accounting, for example. Yes, when we went to university, in every single course I've done, they give an accounting module that, like, they teach you how to run or do accounting for your business. Yeah. Do you think that I know how to submit properly to SARS today? I don't. I need an accountant to come in and help me, guide me in that kind of way. And I think that because I've had the success, the luck, and the success, let me not shrink from that, from learning what I have about helping people in the creative industry build their businesses, I can now provide that insight and that knowledge for the next person, for the emerging designer, or whatever the case is, that doesn't maybe necessarily have the access or the resources. So we also try to do our pricing that kind of way as well. I think that it was also almost like a little bit of a sacrifice and investment on my part. I would love to continue working with all of the emerging designers that can pay my 50,000 Rand invoices. Those are great. Let's keep it that way. But let's also make sure that our pricing is right so that we can target our core customer, who is the emerging designer. And if I had to say to an emerging designer today, or any small business owner actually, like, unless they're very, 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 very successful, pay me 22,000 Rand for my services immediately, I might not have a lot of customers. I might only then end up with the established designers who are going to use and abuse me. Yeah. Then that's my entire career all over again. Yeah. Whereas we're like putting a new pricing structure around to make sure that it's accessible, so that those who do have those little extra coins, it's not millions, but it's enough to get the support that you need. And then like payment plans, which sometimes come back to bite me in the ass, but anyway, excuse my language. Payment plans that, like, if you can't pay now, pay later, or do this or do that. So I think that the mistake is, to go back to your question, the mistake is thinking that we can do everything ourselves, whereas there is the support and the community that is being built, and meaningful support. Like, I want to be able to do stuff for the industry in a meaningful kind of way. That's going to push it forward. Because at the end of the day, these are businesses that, like, the designers are hiring tailors. The tailors also have families and, like, children to put through school, or to keep a roof over their head, or whatever you need money for. So if we approach the industry like, we can give you the support and we can help you solve the problems to keep your business alive, to keep employment going, then that's what we're going to do.
I think, when you lack the resources, like you pointed out, and when you lack the support, then when you've got a concept of something, it must be difficult to then trust that, entrust that in the hands of somebody else. So is there often a lot of convincing that you have to do when you're doing a consultation, or does it have to really come from the designer or whoever the client is to say, you know what, I've had some sort of a revelation or whatever, or I've come to realize that I need help. Can you help me? Or is it a bit of both?
It's a little bit of both. I think that when we're pitching for new work, there's a lot of convincing that's going on. And I think it's like the knowledgeable point that helps a lot. I rely very heavily on building up a very strong portfolio so that if you don't trust me, you can see the work that we've done. And that kind of brings the value of why we charge what we do, or whatever the case is. But at the same time, I think word of mouth has been for me at least, I think it's because I've been in the industry for as long as I've been in, and I've made the connections with the right kind of people, that word of mouth has been proven to be a very, very good marketing form for me. So people will trust me because Leon Haasbroek, for example, has referred me to them, or whatever the case is. So it's building up that rapport and that portfolio. And then when I'm in the room with the customer or with the client, I think I'm very charming. I think God has given me the gift of the gab, which helps, and I'm beautiful as well. So like it's even better. Not to be arrogant, it's just like I'm acknowledging the gifts that I have. So I think that plays a good part in it. And I take an approach where I want to know about you. I want to know, like, what are the pain points that you're struggling with right now?
Right.
What is your goal? Like, what do you want? And I usually just say to them, like, what's your high dream? Where you see, like, when we're up in the clouds and we've made it in the jet, like, what does that look like?
Yeah.
And then understanding, like, those pain points and the things that are very, very important to them, and being able to connect the dots from a business perspective.
Yes.
That's what convinces them, because I have the know-how and I've got the portfolio and I care about you. I care about the customer that I'm working with. It's hard for me to work with a client or a designer that I don't
have any.
Yeah.
Okay. So with all the experience that you have and the different designers and clients that you've worked with, what has been, if there has ever been, but what has been the most chaotic moment you've experienced or with the client?
Yeah.
Is that because there's been so many? Or?
No, I've had some very interesting experiences where maybe a client would do something that's completely veering off the plan. Okay. Or like we'll have a plan, or we'll have like a set goal, and this is how we're going to achieve it. And then they decide to go a completely other route, and then everything bombs out, and then now we've got to fix everything again. The most chaotic that I've experienced was backstage at a show one year. And we had laid out all of the accessories I'm not going to say the client, and I'm not going to say like where, but we laid all of the accessories out really beautifully. Everything seemed sorted, like the models were currently on the runway that we were going to be dressed in the set. And I was like, okay, cool. Like everything looks great. Yeah. Everything is fine. Take the designer away. Ask the hair people, can you just quickly, like, she's going to go on stage, whatever. Come back. The production people had taken away all of the accessories. Yeah. Everybody backstage is insane. Like I feed off of it because it's wonderful, but it's insane. And now they've taken all of the accessories away. Nobody knows what accessories needs to go into which model. The earrings, like, it was a disaster. Yes. And then the show happened because you've got to send the models out on the runway. Not happy, fine, whatever. And coming back at the end and just seeing like the designer's face completely drop and be like, what just happened? Like we've prepared months and months for this. And now what's going on? And I think that I felt the chaos of that. And I also felt very responsible because it looked like everything was fine. Then I took her and I said, come, let's just fix your hair. And sometimes I think like if I didn't do that, maybe something would have changed.
Oh, so it's almost like you took maybe a little piece of the puzzle out there that was holding it all together, and then
correct. And I think it was also because we relied too heavily on the production, whereas now we know better. Like, don't rely on the production so much. Make sure that even if they don't want you there, we will be there, and we'll make sure that everything is sorted out because we can't trust them.
Okay.
But that was a chaotic experience, and I felt I'm even like breaking out into a sweat now thinking about it. Because I'm already on the outs with these people, and now this is going wrong in the background.
Yeah.
But that was a chaotic experience, and I wanted to steer 8, and I wanted to swear, and I wanted to scream and shout, or whatever the case is. Yeah. But that's not professional. Like, we can't do that. That's like that legacy thing that I'm thinking about. Like, nobody's going to want to work with me if I'm screaming at backstage. That's just going to cause more chaos for everybody else going on around.
Okay.
But that was a chaotic experience. And then designers that decide to veer off and do their own thing, Ganma, I hope it works. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to have to invoice again for us to get it right.
So when would they just veer off? Do they just decide at some point that, we don't sort of like this strategy, we're just going to try to do our own thing now?
I think it's, like, for example, like an event that we were doing, that we had set out, like, beautiful floor plans, arranged for, like, art to be delivered, all of the stuff, like arranging the insurance, arranging everything that needs to happen, making sure the floor plan works according to, like, an emergency exit. Like, that's the stuff. Like, yes, we can be creative, but, like, what if something goes wrong? We need to be able to get the people out safely. Exit signs need to be clear. Let's not hang fire, like stuff that can catch on fire. near the lighting or whatever the case was. And then you arrive and the floor plan's not followed and there's fire hazards all over the place and all of that kind of stuff. So that's like the veering off that I speak of. I think with regards to specific strategy, if a designer does decide to veer off, that's their instinct. Okay. That's their business. That's their instinct. That's what's going to work for them. And I hope it does work. And if it doesn't work, I don't say anything, obviously. I'll be like, are we going according to this plan or is it something new?
Sure.
Because it's always human first. We can adjust. And if it doesn't work, we'll fix it. But if it does work, even better. Like, there's not just one way to get things right.
So has there ever been a moment within that where, your client has now, like you've described, you've done all the planning, the layout and everything, and you arrive and it's nothing to what you've planned and things go horribly wrong, and then they come back and say, but Kirsten, do they ever come back to you or do they own it and say,
thank God nothing like that has happened.
Okay.
Touch wood. Yes, it is. Touch wood. Nothing like that has happened before. But also your legal brain tells you we document everything. Right. We request specific approvals for everything. We make sure that like the day before there's like a call sheet or something specific that's sent out so that in the event that something does go wrong, I've covered all of our bases as well. And I don't ever want to take a I told you so approach. I would rather be like, this is what we documented, this is what we planned, that's not what happened.
Yes.
So that we can at least like salvage the relationship and fix the problem.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. But thankfully nothing has gone that badly wrong before.
Yeah. And then, so talk to us a little bit about, or if you can, we know that you can't disclose all the secrets, but, what are some of the things that a local designer can expect from Leo SZN to help, break them into, global markets or, elevate their brand to a global scale?
So we've got a package, it's called the Signature Launch Bundle.
Right.
And that's like for any single, it's tailored for every single designer, for any single need that they have. And the idea of this package is really, it's holding your hand from the start to the end.
Okay.
Or holding the designer's hand, or the designer holding our hands, whichever way we'd like to see it. Look, it's that community build that we're doing. So we start in the very beginning where the designer will come and be like, I have this idea for my collection. This is what I want to produce, whether they have the samples or just a sketch. And I'll go and be like, okay, cool. It's going to cost 500,000 Rand. I'm just giving stupid numbers. It's going to cost 500,000 Rand. Maybe I should give more realistic numbers. It'll cost you 20,000 Rand to make 18 samples of linen or denim or whatever the case is. We'll need 100 meters of denim to get this right. This is how much it's going to cost you for your labor, your finishes, all of that kind of stuff. We put it out there so that before the designer even starts developing their collection, they know how much it's going to cost.
Okay.
We give them the projections. And we also project, if you sell one large, one medium, one extra large, this is how much money you'll make. Yeah. If you sell one of each of these pieces in the total collection, that's how much you're going to make. So that there's an idea or goal that we're working towards. Right. Once they're happy with that and it's been approved, or we curate the collection, we'll help them curate the collection, or whatever the case is. We never design for them. I'm not a designer.
Right.
We take the collection, we send it off either to a CMT or it goes into production. While those clothes are being produced, we go back to the brand or the brand development, and we look at like, what are your goals? What does your brand stand at the moment? Who are your target? Like all of the stuff, the business stuff that you have to do, and we help them develop the brand so that they've got press kits, lookbooks, line sheets, everything that they like, the foundation that they need in order to start speaking to press and media or sponsors or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
Once that second phase is done, we've got the collection, we've got the brand idea or the brand strategy that we want to move towards. Then I start with the PR outreach. If we do a show, then we'll like obviously do the show and the campaign development. So we start shooting the collection in accordance with whatever brand goals there were, or like whatever idea that the campaign or the collection is. We take all of those images, I send them out to press and media. I send them out to sponsors if needed. Like if a designer develops only their samples and they need money to develop the full range to sell it to a retailer, we go and we look for those sponsors for them as well. Mohair South Africa is wonderful. Okay. Fat Boys Denim and Denim HQ, they've also been really, really great for some of the designers. Right. And then we produce the collection. Once we know how many units we're going to produce, we've got the campaign images, we've got the press and media stuff. And then I go out to my buyers, my retail buyers. We are Egg, Merchants on Long, Alara, all of these concept stores across Africa, and I sell the collections to these buyers.
Okay.
We negotiate what terms are working best for the designers, And then we obviously launch, and we have like if we can do a nice big party, invite everybody it is that we need to, dress some nice people and have a nice time. So like that's the glamorous part.
Right.
But that's kind of like the full
breakdown
service offering that we do.
Each
thing is tailored to the designer's needs. But I found that was the one that worked the best. And then if the designers don't want to do that whole full process, but maybe they just need a press and PR outreach, then we obviously will break it down for them that way. Okay. But it's designer-centric, it's human-centric.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. And are there ever like instances in that, like, let's say, for example, a designer wants, their brand to be, very strongly or have a strong presence in like New York, for example, and then you go, well, look, given this specific style, it might be better, in Hong Kong or, somewhere Europe, but let's stay away from America. Like, are those things that happen? Or
I do my research.
Okay.
It's very fun. I have every single plan on the planet to go to every single fashion week that there is as the business grows. But like I mentioned earlier as well, it's community. So sometimes I won't be able to advise that strongly, or maybe I'll only have like a business connection for a showroom in New York, but I wouldn't necessarily have like the styling element. Then I'll consult with a stylist that does really, really well.
Okay.
Make good friends with very good stylists that work for very good fashion publications, and go to them and be like, hey, I've got a little bit of coins. I need a consult for an hour on this collection. Will you give me your opinion? And then we take it from there.
Yeah.
So it's also very much like, as much as we're doing the help for the designers, I also need that support in that community.
Right.
And that's where the open network comes in.
Yes.
Yeah. But we do it. And it's nice to, one of our clients, Mole Batse, by Jessica Jane.
Right.
They showcased at Shanghai Fashion Week last week.
Awesome.
They had like a beautiful showroom, and they showcased, and we got them into almost 10 publications.
That's fantastic.
And a couple more interviews that are coming up.
Yeah.
So it's nice. It's cool to do that.
Oh, and they must have been over the moon about that.
Absolutely. I think that like Africa Reimagined, that's the program that they've done. So Africa Reimagined is like the big daddy of, this is what I think that Leo SZN could become one day.
Right.
I'm actually not sure where she's based. I believe that she's obviously based in Africa somewhere.
Yeah.
But basically what she did was she took like 52 different designers to a showroom in Shanghai, and then did the show for them. And then we all worked together for the press and media stuff afterwards.
Okay.
So that was a beautiful experience. Yeah. There's also Camera della Moda that does it for Milan Fashion Week. So we've done those as well. Paris Fashion Week is great with Give Her a Crown.
Okay.
So we're always working with the organizations.
Yes.
It's very important. And then the showrooms in New York are through the Folklore. We've got Industry Africa as one of the distributors for some of our clients. So it's definitely the community that makes it work. Like we all want to work together for it. Yeah.
And then with all of this, planning and organizing and working with people from all over the world, do you travel a lot? Do you try to do most of what you can from home? Or?
Yeah. Most of everything's from home. At this point, my travel is purely leisure. I do want it to be, I would like I mentioned, I would love to attend more fashion weeks across the world. But my work predominantly stays in Joburg, or stays in South Africa rather, not Joburg, because I want to help the designers now. Yeah. The idea is it's like almost like a bird leaving home. Right. I'm like, Mom, I'm preparing you. I'm getting your luggage. I'm making sure that everything is right. And then I'm sending you off to New York or to Milan or Paris or wherever it is.
Yes.
And I'll be watching and cheering from the sidelines. I do want to go for sure.
Yeah.
But I think that like I want to prioritize the important things.
Sure.
I'd love to spend 50,000 rand and go to like Milan Fashion Week for 3 days. But then where does that leave the rest of the business?
Yes.
So as time, I'm sweating thinking about it. I cannot wait. As time goes, then I probably would travel. But at this point, I'm staying home. I'm staying here. And I'm doing the work that I think needs to be done locally first.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Any advice that you would give to anybody aspiring to get into your industry, whether it be fashion, beauty, or just the creative industry in general?
I think like having transferable skills is incredible.
Okay.
Having transferable skills is so important. The world is changing, and like, remember when we were younger and they used to say globalization?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So now we can see it, and it's like, obviously, this is the way that the world works now. And so many young people are also studying stuff because it's going to guarantee them, which now we know it is not, they guarantee them security. And, like 8 times out of 10, it's not. Yeah. The unemployment rate is extremely high in South Africa, whether you're qualified or not.
Sure.
And so now we're seeing like people shift between industries because they've got these transferable skills. And I think that that's what's worked very well in my favor, that I've been working in the creative industry for my entire career, but I've got a very theoretical background and like very like linear knowledge that I can take and apply to wherever it is.
Yes.
And I think that that's the biggest thing. There was a young guy, his name's Samuel. Samuel's a model. I've worked with him. I've represented him before, and he's studying project management now. And I'm like, Buddha, you're going to be just fine. Like, he's studying project management for some corporate something, but he wants to be in the industry. He wants to stay here. And I'm like, having those transferable skills, it's going to help. Yeah, it's going to help, because that's what we need. The industries are growing. It's not just a designer sewing clothes anymore. It's the entire production process. It's the textile factories. It's being able to like manage people. There's so many things that go into to running an actual business that just being a creative on your own is not enough anymore.
Yes.
And that was the gap for us.
Okay, awesome. And then if we may ask, what's next for Leo SZN? What's the next big project you got lined up?
$100 million. I'd love that. So we're...
Please remember us.
Yeah, I will, promise. Just us growing. Like, that's the biggest thing for me. I'm very, very happy. I've managed to grow my team now. I could not in my wildest dreams imagine that Leo SZN would do what it's doing, but it is. And I think that for me, I just want to keep on growing. So like these annual events that we do, because so much of our work is based off of supporting designers, for us on our own, these annual events where we celebrate South African fashion, we celebrate what it means to actually have gotten to this point, to showcase or to sell your collection to a retailer. Those are the things that I want to focus on, so that Leo SZN is the only one in South Africa that does it, because at this point we are.
Amazing.
At least not that I'm aware of anyone else doing it.
Yeah.
And if there is, coming for your bag. I'm just kidding.
We got the apex predator.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Gotta have a little bit of grit.
Gotta have that.
I had a boss that called me a pit bull once.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll bite and I bark, so let's see what happens.
You don't just bark.
Yeah.
You steal.
Is that gonna be like that's gonna be like
theme.
the thing?
I think that's just gonna be the name of the
Steak 8.
episode. Steak 8 with Kirsten Leo.
Oh yeah. No, people are gonna love that. Everybody that knows me will be like, that's Kirsten.
Where do you see Leo SZN in 5 years? You spoke about somebody who, has these big dream moments, or at least you encourage that with your clients. You ask them, what is your high dream? Yeah. So what is the high dream for Leo SZN?
Leo SZN's high dream is definitely a showroom.
Okay.
I would love to have a fixed showroom space where I could host designers for a day or for a month or whatever the case is. They bring me their collections and I introduce them to all of the press and media. I introduce them to all of the retail buyers, locally and internationally. And I just want to have that opportunity available. I have been trying to do the showroom on a smaller scale, and that has worked a little bit. And I think that for Leo SZN to have a fixed space, and I could just see it, like, think of Will and Grace in the 90s.
Yes.
And like, there's this showroom and everybody can go to it and we're all drinking wine and we're having a good time and somebody's collection's being sold every single day. And it feels very professional but still very open. It's a fixed space. And I want to be one of the biggest showrooms in South Africa.
Awesome.
Because again, there are not any showrooms in South Africa.
Yeah.
Not
there
at this time, at least not online,
Yeah, so speaking of Will and Grace, do you want to talk to us about your outfit?
Oh yeah, this morning when I was getting dressed, I was like, okay, I'm going to go and meet Terrence and the team. What do I want Leo SZN to look like?
Right.
And I channeled Grace from Will and Grace, like the 90s with the vintage bag and the vintage scarf and a nice big coat. It's giving New York with the curly hair.
It's definitely giving Grace. I can see 100%.
It's giving Grace. I'm very much into that at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying her. I'm enjoying the show.
Yes.
So that was where I got this inspiration from. But usually you'll find me in linen.
Okay.
Like any other given day, I'm always, okay, maybe not in winter because it's cold, but you'll more often than not see me in linens. I dressed up for you today.
We appreciate that. We tried to dress up well. This uniform, we pretty much look like this all the time.
I like the kipau color. It's doing good.
Thank you.
Yeah. So when do I get to ask you questions?
Oh, shoot. Well,
have
you're
to
welcome to
prepare.
ask me a question or a couple of questions if you'd like. And flip the script.
What is the meaning of life? I'm just kidding.
Whoa!
I wanted to ask, what was your most chaotic experience on a podcast? Since, as if the fashion industry can't be chaotic enough. I don't think I gave a good answer there. It gets more chaotic, but what was yours?
Fortunately enough, I don't think we've had any chaotic experiences. Thanks be to God. So there's nothing juicy, nothing juicy I can give you on that front, apart from like little technical glitches. But I mean that's boring stuff. You know?
Sorry, it is.
Like during edits, going through footage and seeing, oh, there's a blank space here, we lost visual, and let's try to recover it somehow. Other than that, like there's been no chaos, thanks be to God, and we hope that it remains that way.
Amen. I agree. And my final question, thanks so much for hosting me. Thanks for coming to my podcast. When do we get to go into the Tiguan? And drive around and have a good time there?
Well, let's go do that right now.
Okay. Excellent. I'm looking forward to it.
You've been a fantastic guest.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming on to our
Thanks,
podcast.
guys. It's been good.
Yeah.
I hope I didn't talk too much smack.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of, right, I think we got to do something about merch or T-shirts, Steer8 or something.
Love that.
Eh?
Yeah. Something true to our style. Something with energy.
Yes, yes. And it's got to say Steer8.
I mean, it does. Spoo has decided on his own, because obviously he's always listening to me talk about stuff. Spoo's going to come out with it's obviously all jokes, but like he's coming out with a line called Gringo Gogo.
Okay.
And he's going to make beautiful luxury wear for the ladies in Hyde Park. So maybe we can have a Steer8 t-shirt in that collection.
There we go. I love that.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's it from us for this episode. And once again, Kirsten Leo Situma, the founder of Leo SZN. Guys, any upcoming designers out there, or even reputable designers, I mean, this is the person you want to work with. And to our audience, to our viewers, to our listeners, we hope we did our best to help you ignite your light, keep it burning bright. So stay locked in with us here on EXC-i8.
Yes, that was excellent.
Awesome stuff.
Sure, hot, but wonderful.